something is wrong in Paris. Deeply, structurally, historically wrong. Because a woman from a Bronx housing project just walked into the most gate-kept room on earth, sat down like she owned the deed, and made every legacy fashion editor in that building look like a tourist. The wildest part, the part nobody is saying out loud, is that this was not a fashion appearance. This was a coordinated multi-front cultural takeover. And by the time the last twist lands, the one involving a baby the world has never actually seen, you are going to understand that Cardi B did not just have a moment in Paris. She rewrote the entire operating system of modern celebrity in one afternoon. Do not scroll. Do not skip. Because half the internet is arguing about a dress right now, and they are missing the receipts sitting in plain sight. The receipts are wilder than the recap accounts. The receipts are wilder than the fashion blogs. The receipts show a woman running a chess opening while everybody else is still learning the pieces. I need you locked in for the whole thing, because the third act flips this story sideways in a way the algorithm is not ready for. Hey friends. Hey everyone. Pull up close, because I could not let this one slide by. In one 24-hour window Cardi B outmaneuvered every A-list celebrity on the planet, and the frightening part is she barely broke a sweat doing it. She glided into Paris. She blinked once. And the entire ecosystem of couture, luxury media, gossip publishing, and pop culture bent itself around her like she was gravity itself. 1 minute she is reincarnating an ancient temple goddess in the front row of Couture Week, wearing a gown that took 6 months of hand embroidery to complete. The next minute she is on a live stream dangling a life-changing personal reveal in front of millions of fans who have been begging for a glimpse of this moment for months. And I have said it before, I will keep saying it until the internet catches up. Cardi does not miss. Cardi B does not miss. She might be the single most strategically underestimated celebrity in this entire industry, and the last 48 hours are the proof they cannot argue with. So let me walk you through it frame by frame, because there is far more happening under the surface than the average recap post is telling you. On the pure gossip layer, sure, this looks like a cute fashion week diary with a fun cliffhanger. But if you actually study the way this day was constructed, you start noticing patterns. You start noticing timing. You start noticing that every single move was placed with the precision of a grandmaster mid-tournament. Nothing was random. Nothing was accidental. Every single frame that hit the internet in the last 24 hours was engineered to land exactly the way it landed. Once you spot the pattern, you cannot unsee it. Promise me you are going to hold on until the very end, because the story quietly flips in the third act. If you bounce early, you are going to miss the punchline. Deal? Cool. Let's move. Here is the setup. Yesterday Paris Fashion Week Fall-Winter 2026 couture presentations rolled out one after another. And in the middle of that schedule there was one show that everybody in the fashion industry had circled in red ink. Rahul Mishra. If you do not know Rahul Mishra yet, note it now, because you will hear that name a lot more in the coming years. He is one of the most respected couturiers working today. His atelier in India produces some of the most maniacally detailed hand-embroidered garments the world has ever seen. His Couture Week showcases are treated like museum openings. Editors fly in from Tokyo, Milan, Sao Paulo, Seoul, just to sit inside that specific room. So when the seating chart leaked and people saw that Cardi B was going to be sitting front row for the Fall-Winter 2026 Devi presentation, the whispers ignited instantly. Because I need you to understand, Cardi at a Rahul Mishra show is not a random pairing. That is a statement. That is somebody signaling to the entire luxury world that the crossover between global hip-hop and old-school craft-heavy couture is not just possible anymore. It is happening in real time. And she is the bridge carrying the whole thing across. And Cardi showed up like she already knew. She walked into that presentation wearing a custom ivory couture gown, and I am not exaggerating when I tell you the moment she stepped through those doors the room forgot how to behave. Photographers tripped over each other. Editors stood up in their chairs. Somebody in the second row let out an audible gasp that got picked up on a hot mic and is now looping on fashion Twitter. That is what she does. She creates weather. She walks in and the temperature of the room shifts to whatever she wants. And the dress. Oh, the dress. It was inspired by ancient Indian temple sculptures, and I am not being poetic when I tell you the silhouette was carved, and I mean carved, to look like she had just stepped down off a stone relief from a 1,000-year-old shrine. The structured corset molded to her waist like liquid marble hardening in slow motion. The sculptural shoulders stretched outward into architectural wings that made her look like she was mid-motion, mid-emergence, mid-birth, almost stepping right out of the pillar of a temple. Every seam, every fold, every fossilized detail was engineered to blur the line between garment and monument. And the craftsmanship. My goodness, the craftsmanship. Hundreds of hours of hand embroidery. Thousands of individual beaded elements sewn on one by one, catching the flash of every camera like tiny fossils encoded into the fabric. This was not clothing. This was archaeology. This was couture as excavation. And the story runs even deeper, because the gown was part of Rahul Mishra's Devi collection. Devi, in Hindu tradition, refers to the divine feminine, the goddess energy, the mother power threaded through every mythological hero narrative in Indian scripture. So think about the choice here. A Bronx-raised, self-made, unfiltered, unapologetically vocal woman who built an empire from being underestimated, dressed as a modern-day Devi. She is wearing feminine strength on her body. She is wearing centuries of goddess iconography carved directly onto her frame. Do you understand how loud that visual is? Do you understand how many layers are packed into that single styling decision? The fashion crowd noticed. Fashion editors were halfway through their captions before Cardi had even sat down. She completed the look with a jeweled maang tikka resting at the center of her forehead, a traditional Indian bridal and ceremonial headpiece stitched into centuries of cultural history. Massive shoulder duster earrings that swayed with every micro-movement. Slick back hair pulled tight so nothing distracted from the architecture of the gown. Glowing dewy makeup with just enough shimmer to catch the flash. And zero unnecessary accessories, because the dress was the sentence. The dress was the mic drop. The dress was the whole conversation, and Cardi understood that with the kind of clarity most stylists spend their whole career chasing. Now I have been watching this woman navigate the fashion world for years, and I have seen her do a lot of viral looks. I have seen the meat sculpture moments. I have seen the giant ballooning skirt frames. I have seen the wild archival Mugler poofs. But I have to tell you, this one landed differently. This was not Cardi B doing shock fashion. This was Cardi B doing storytelling fashion. There is a difference, and if you know, you know. This was her stepping into that new tier of celebrity where you stop performing style and start embodying it. And the fashion world felt that shift in real time, even if they will never admit it in an interview. But watch this next part, because this is where the plot thickens. The moment she settled into her seat, the runway had not even started yet. But the show was already happening around her. And nobody, and I mean nobody, is telling this part of the story with the weight it deserves. You know the Bronx girl cannot sit still around good music. She just cannot do it. So the second the soundtrack for the presentation started pumping through the venue, she was already grooving in her chair, head bopping, shoulders shimmying, this enormous smile breaking across her face like she had just remembered she was somewhere magical. And I love this about her. I genuinely love it. Because you can put her in a $200,000 couture gown, you can sit her front row at the most prestigious fashion event on the planet, and she is still going to be the same Bronx girl who cannot help but move when a beat drops. That authenticity is exactly why she has lasted this long in an industry that eats phony celebrities alive. The cameras caught Cardi practically bouncing out of her seat at one point. She was laughing. She was clapping. She was living. There is a clip going viral right now where she looks like she is 1 second away from getting up and twerking in the front row of couture. Honestly, if she had, I would have supported it. That energy would have single-handedly rescued Couture Week from the reputation it has for being emotionally frozen. And the fashion world, which historically pretends to be too cool to enjoy anything, was suddenly forced to admit that maybe joy actually belongs at these shows. She brought life into a room that has spent decades cultivating a very specific kind of icy distance. She broke the temperature. Now here is where the second layer of the story walks into the chat. And it is one of the coolest cultural crossovers of the year. Sitting right next to the rapper in the front row was Isha Ambani. If you do not know Isha Ambani, let me put you on quickly. She is a billionaire philanthropist, a business leader, and part of one of the most influential families on the planet. Her family, the Ambanis, sit at the very top of the Indian luxury and cultural ecosystem. When Isha shows up somewhere, it is a signal. It means something. She wore a slate blue couture look that honestly could have carried its own show. Embroidered corset. Delicate beadwork running throughout the bodice. A beautifully draped dupatta paying direct tribute to traditional Indian silhouettes. Layered on top of everything, an absolutely staggering diamond necklace and matching earrings that look like they had been pulled from a private vault under a mountain somewhere. And here is the part that made the internet lose its mind. The two of them were not sitting side by side like two strangers doing polite Fashion Week small talk. They were vibing. They were laughing together. They were leaning in during the quiet moments. They were posing side by side for the photographers. And the visual, my goodness, the visual. Global hip-hop royalty and Indian dynasty royalty sitting shoulder to shoulder, sharing a front row, sharing a laugh, sharing the whole moment. That single image is going to end up in fashion history books. I am telling you right now, save this video. Come back in 5 years. That is the frame everybody is going to remember. Because think about what it means. A self-made rapper who once worked jobs the tabloids will not stop bringing up is now sitting next to a billionaire heiress from the most powerful business family in India. And the two of them look genuinely delighted to be in each other's company. That is culture collapsing borders in real time. That is the future of luxury walking through the door before the industry realized it needed a new definition. That is Cardi doing what nobody else in her lane is doing, and doing it like it took no effort at all. I also have to give a quiet shout to whoever arranged that seating chart, because seat assignments at Paris Couture are the most political thing in fashion. Editors go to war over front row chairs. Publicists spend months lobbying for the right placement. Brands measure their season success partly by who is placed next to whom. So the fact that the seat next to Isha Ambani was reserved for Cardi B tells you exactly how much cultural weight this artist now carries. That chair was not given. That chair was earned. Earned in a currency the industry rarely acknowledges out loud, which is undeniable audience gravity. But wait. The fashion moments were absolutely not finished. This is the part where I need you to strap in, because she pulled a move most celebrities cannot pull off, and she made it look like nothing. After the show wrapped, most people assumed she would return to her hotel and call it a day. Wrong. Wrong. So wildly wrong. Because a few hours later she re-emerged for her evening appearance in Paris, and she was completely, and I mean completely, unrecognizable from the goddess energy she had been serving that afternoon. She had executed a full aesthetic reset. Different silhouette. Different color palette. Different mood. Different story. Same person. Two totally different visual chapters, both delivered inside the same 24-hour window. Before I even get to the outfit, I have to talk about the way she handled the paparazzi outside her hotel, because it tells you everything about who this woman is at this stage of her career. Most celebrities at her level cannot stand paparazzi. They rush past. They cover their face. They act like being photographed is a personal violation of a treaty. She does the opposite. She stopped for the fans. She waved at people calling her name. She acknowledged the photographers, some of them by name. She paused so the cameras could get clean shots. She responded when strangers yelled compliments at her. She even hyped up the French paparazzi, telling them they were the best paparazzi in the world. And if you have ever seen a French photographer receive a compliment on camera, that is basically the most heartwarming reaction on the internet. They lit up. They cheered. They yelled back that she was the best celebrity they had ever had roll through the city. It turned into a whole mutual love fest right there on the pavement, and the clip has been circulating on fashion Twitter all week. That right there is the difference. That is why she is not just famous. She is beloved. Because at a moment when most stars view the public gaze as a burden, she treats it like a conversation. She talks back. She jokes. She waves. She makes the moment feel like a shared experience instead of a violation. And in a city like Paris, which has an incredibly complicated history with paparazzi culture, the way she engaged with the street photographers was genuinely refreshing to watch. She turned a sidewalk into a red carpet purely by being open. And then the outfit. Oh my goodness, the outfit. She stepped out wearing a gorgeous lilac dress by Rowen Rose that was so different from the afternoon couture look it honestly felt like a costume change in the middle of a feature film. The fitted midi silhouette. The dramatic cinched waist that carved her figure into an hourglass. The structured shoulders that gave the whole outfit a 1980s power dressing edge. The elegant long sleeves flowing down into matching lilac gloves. Yes, gloves in summer in Paris. Because rules do not apply here. And to finish it, a tiny basket-style handbag that, against all logic, made the whole look 10 times more memorable than it already was. Do you get how hard this is to pull off? Going from ancient temple goddess in the afternoon to sleek modern editorial cover power princess by evening, without either look feeling like a stretch, without any visible seam between the two personas, is one of the hardest tricks in celebrity styling. Most stars can do one look really well. A few can do two. Almost nobody can execute two looks this dramatically different in the same day and make both feel like the definitive statement of the season. Cardi just did it. In Paris. In front of the entire fashion industry. On the same day. Now let me pause the Cardi highlight reel for a second, because this is not only about her. It is not fair to the collection to make it only about her. This was Rahul Mishra's show, and the actual work on that runway deserves every ounce of praise it is collecting online. Let's talk about the runway itself, because this context makes the Cardi moment hit even harder. The Devi collection was a love letter to the divine feminine as expressed through Indian art, mythology, and craft history. Every look that walked down that runway carried a piece of the story. Gowns that looked chiseled out of marble columns. Pieces that seemed to bloom mid-walk, unfurling like flowers under stage lights. Beaded panels shimmering like temple mosaics catching morning sun. Oversized floral structures growing out of the shoulders and cascading down the back like architectural gardens. Silhouettes directly inspired by the arches and domes of ancient Indian palaces. Hand-painted fabrics. Embroidery that took months per piece. Beading applied one crystal at a time. This was not garment production. This was devotional labor. And the audience knew it. The room, typically filled with polite golf claps and quiet respectful nods, broke into full applause multiple times, which is basically unheard of at Couture Week. That is how you know a collection landed. Rahul Mishra did not just make clothing. He made an argument. He made an argument that couture, real couture, has to mean something beyond luxury spending. It has to carry culture. It has to carry story. It has to carry the fingerprints of the artisans who made it. And every single look in that collection carried all three at once. That is the room Cardi B chose to be seated in. That is the story she chose to attach herself to. And I want you to sit with that for a second, because it is not accidental. It is a signal. Cardi is not just showing up at random shows anymore. She is curating her Fashion Week presence like a museum curator picks exhibitions. She is placing herself specifically in rooms where craft, culture, and femininity are being celebrated together. That is a level of intentional celebrity styling we do not talk about enough, and I want to name it out loud, because we live in a moment when a lot of stars outsource their wardrobe decisions to stylist teams and then take the credit when a moment lands. That is not what happened here. Cardi is famously involved in her own styling. She sits in fittings. She has opinions. She sends photos of archival pieces to her team. She knows what she wants to project and she gets in the room and makes sure it happens. The result of that over years is what we are now watching pay off in real time. The Cardi lookbook has become a body of work, not a series of accidents. Alright. So at this point, if she had ended the day right there, this would already be one of the biggest fashion moments of the year. 2 viral looks. A globally trending front row moment with Isha Ambani. A cultural crossover between hip-hop and Indian couture that will be studied for years. Any other celebrity would call it a wrap and cash the moment in. But she is not any other celebrity, because just when the internet thought her Fashion Week headlines could not possibly get any bigger, she pulled something that quietly stole the entire spotlight back for herself. And this is where the story flips. This is the twist I told you to wait for. So if you are still with me, brace yourself, because we are about to go somewhere unexpected. Real quick before we get into it, I want you to notice something the paparazzi footage caught that most people are glossing over. When one of the photographers outside her hotel yelled out a question about a possible European tour, she paused, smiled, and dropped a hint. A real hint. She looked into the camera and basically confirmed without confirming that a Europe run is on the way. Now the fans immediately grabbed that clip and started running with it, because if you have been following her career, you know a European tour has been quietly whispered about for the better part of a year. Nothing officially announced. Nothing officially denied. Just enough breadcrumbs to keep the appetite alive. And in one sidewalk exchange she just fed the rumor mill enough fuel to keep it burning for another month. That is not accidental either. That is a professional handling a media cycle with surgical timing. Alright, back to the main story. After wrapping her performance at the Essence Festival, which by the way is a whole other conversation because she absolutely torched that stage, Cardi hopped online, went live, and dropped a bomb. She looked directly into the camera and told her fans, and I am paraphrasing here, that she is finally ready to show the world her baby. Yeah, that baby. Baby Blossom. The son she has been carefully, protectively, deliberately hiding from public view since the day he arrived. And the internet lost it. Completely lost it. Because here is what you have to understand. Cardi B has 4 kids now. 4. And she has slowly, carefully, and in her own time chosen when and how to reveal each one of them to the public. Her older children have been introduced gradually. Their names have been shared on her terms. Their faces have appeared on social media when she was ready. But the youngest, her newest arrival, has been almost invisible. Fans have gotten glimpses. Fans have gotten hints. Fans have heard her mention him in passing. But nobody has really seen his face. And she has protected that mystery like it was a state secret, because it was hers to protect. So when she got on that live and started smiling from ear to ear and started saying things like, "He is such a cutie, he is a heart snatcher, his smile can brighten anybody's day, I am ready to show him to y'all," the internet melted. It absolutely melted. And you could see her face light up in a way only a mother talking about her baby can light up. That look is not something you can fake. That look is real. That is a woman who is deeply, wildly, obsessively in love with her child, and who is finally about to let the rest of the world in on why. Fan accounts started counting down the seconds. Group chats exploded. Baby name theories that had been floating around for months suddenly resurfaced. Old clips of her stomach on live got dug up and reposted. Every corner of celebrity Twitter suddenly had an opinion on when the reveal was going to drop, how she was going to do it, whether it would be a full-face photo or a strategic side profile, whether there would be a professional shoot involved or whether she would just casually post from her phone one random evening. And I love the way fandoms treat these tiny cliffhangers, because in a world where everything feels overshared and oversaturated, the fact that a celebrity can still get millions of people this emotionally invested in the reveal of a single baby photo tells you something important. It tells you people are starving for real, intimate moments. They are starving for something that feels earned. And this reveal, whenever it lands, is going to feel earned in a way most celebrity content never does. Twitter, or X, or whatever we are calling it this week, went into full meltdown mode. The comment sections under her posts turned into a scrolling waterfall of "We have been waiting forever for this moment." And I have to tell you, this is the part that gets me the most. Because on the surface, this is a fashion story. Cardi B goes to Paris. Wears amazing outfits. Sits front row at Couture Week. The end. But underneath all of that, what we actually just watched was one of the most emotionally intelligent celebrity moves I have ever seen. Cardi maximized her global fashion moment during the day, then flipped the switch that evening and turned every single one of those millions of eyeballs toward her personal life, her family, her softest side, her role as a mother. That is not luck. That is genius. That is a fully engineered emotional narrative arc executed in a single 24-hour cycle without anybody in her camp appearing to break a sweat. And people underestimate how difficult this is, because a lot of celebrities try to walk this exact line. The icon in public, the devoted mother in private. And most of them fumble it. They overshare and dilute the mystery. They hide too much and start feeling cold. They let their personal life leak on somebody else's timeline instead of their own. Cardi B does not fumble. She controls. She curates. She lets you close enough to feel like you know her, then closes the door before you get too comfortable. And now, with the baby reveal on the horizon, she is about to gift her fans the biggest emotional payoff she has offered in years. Real talk. Whenever she does drop that first clear photo of her youngest son, whether it is next week, next month, or on a random Tuesday when nobody is expecting it, that image is going to break the internet. I am not exaggerating. Every gossip site is going to run it. Every fan account is going to repost it. Every mommy blog, every rap podcast, every pop culture recap channel is going to have something to say. And she knows all of that. She has known it the whole time. That is why she has held the reveal this long. Because the value of a first look, the emotional weight of a single frame, grows every day she keeps it hidden. She is not hiding him out of fear. She is hiding him because she understands the currency of a curated debut better than most brand strategists on the planet. Which brings me to my honest take on all of this. And this is the part where I want you to actually think for a second, because I do not think enough people are giving Cardi credit for what she just did. The Bronx star is at a stage in her career where a lot of celebrities would coast. She has the awards. She has the streaming numbers. She has the loyal fan base. She has the tabloid attention. She has the fashion industry cosigns. She could show up to one event a month, wear something safe, cash the appearance check, and go home. That is what most stars at her level do. But that is not what she is doing. She is out here creating cultural moments in Paris. She is out here bridging hip-hop and Indian couture in a single seat assignment. She is out here dressing like a temple goddess in the afternoon and a power-suited fashion princess by dinner. She is out here waving at fans in the street when other celebrities are hiding behind bodyguards. She is out here going live to tease the reveal of her youngest child on her own timeline, on her own terms. That is not coasting. That is dominance. That is a celebrity who is somehow at every stage still leveling up. And by the way, if you look at her competitive lane, meaning female rappers who came up in the 2010s and are still commercially dominant right now, the list is honestly very short. A lot of her peers from that era are working. Some are thriving. But very few are still setting cultural agendas the way she is. She is not just surviving. She is expanding. She is picking up new audiences every quarter. She is opening doors into rooms hip-hop artists were traditionally not invited into. Fashion houses used to treat rap culture as a marketing accessory. Now they treat her personally as a creative collaborator. That shift did not happen by accident. That happened because she and her team put in the years of work behind the scenes that most fans never get to see. And I think that is why this moment resonated so hard with the internet. Because we are watching, in real time, a woman who was written off so many times by so many people in so many chapters of her life cementing herself as one of the most important cultural figures of this era. Not because a magazine said so. Not because a brand deal said so. But because she keeps showing up and outdoing herself. Chapter after chapter. Look after look. Moment after moment. Alright, let me pull back a little bit and give you the full picture of the Fashion Week landscape, because context matters here. Paris Fashion Week Fall-Winter 2026 Couture Week has been a massive news cycle from day one. There were shows that felt technical. There were shows that felt experimental. There were shows that leaned so far into digital age aesthetics they almost forgot they were couture presentations. And then there were shows like Rahul Mishra's, which reminded everybody why couture exists in the first place. Couture exists to preserve craft. It exists to protect story. It exists to give the artisans, the embroiderers, the hand painters, the people whose names never appear on the runway card, a global stage where their labor becomes art. The Grammy winner walking into that specific room, in that specific gown, on that specific afternoon, was the story completing itself. Because if you are going to build a collection around the divine feminine, you need a face at the front row who embodies it. And that face was hers. She was the punctuation on the entire thesis. Now I want to speak to something I know some folks are going to bring up in the comments, because it is worth addressing head-on. There has been a small pocket of online discourse basically asking whether she was the right choice for a collection so deeply rooted in Indian cultural heritage. And I hear the question. I really do. I think those conversations are important and I think they deserve honest, non-defensive engagement. But here is where I land on it. The designer chose her. Rahul Mishra picked her to be his front row centerpiece. He knows his own culture. He knows his own collection. He knows the message he wanted his front row to send. And he chose her because she embodied something specific that he wanted the world to see. That decision belongs to him, and I trust him with it. Full stop. Also, and this is important, she did not wear the garment carelessly. She wore it with reverence. You could see it in her posture. You could see it in the way she carried the maang tikka. You could see it in the way she smiled but did not overpose. This was not a costume. This was collaboration. And it read as such. Okay, back to the good stuff. Because there is one more layer of this story I do not want you to miss. Ready? During the Essence Festival appearance right before all of this Paris chaos, the Bronx-born rapper basically shut down the entire lineup with her set. Fans have been posting clips of that performance non-stop, and every single frame is proof that she is somehow, right now, in the best performance shape of her career. Her vocals were locked. Her stage presence was insane. Her energy was on 10 from the first bar to the last. And she did all of that while quietly, in the background, preparing to hop on a jet, fly to Paris, and pull off a two-look couture week appearance that will be dissected for months. Do you understand the logistics of that? Do you understand what it takes to bounce from a full festival headline set into an international couture presentation with 2 custom looks and make both moments look effortless? That is a level of professional stamina only a handful of celebrities on the planet can match. And Cardi is one of them. And she is doing it while also being a mother of 4, running a music career, launching business ventures, and casually preparing to reveal her youngest son to the world on her own timing. She is running the schedule of 3 different celebrities inside one body. Here is my last honest take before we wrap this up. I think a lot of people got so used to her being loud and being real and being unfiltered that they forgot she is also incredibly strategic. She is not just vibes and one-liners. She is chess. Watch how she picks her shows. Watch how she picks her designers. Watch how she paces her personal reveals. Watch how she moves between rooms. Watch who she sits next to. Watch when she speaks and when she stays quiet. Every move has math behind it. Every appearance has story architecture behind it. Every fashion look has a specific emotional message attached to it. Cardi is playing at a level a lot of her critics never even knew existed, which is exactly why the internet cannot stop talking about Cardi. She keeps giving them new evidence. She keeps handing them proof. She keeps stacking the receipts. One look, one live stream, one front row appearance at a time. Alright, I need to bring it home, because I have been running my mouth for a minute now and I know some of you already have your comments loaded up in the chamber. Before we close this out, I want to ask you a couple of questions, because I already know the comments section is about to be an absolute war zone, and I want to hear from you directly. Question 1. Which look did you like more? The Ivory Temple Goddess Couture from the afternoon show, or the lilac Rowen Rose midi dress with the gloves and the tiny basket bag from the evening? Because I have my personal favorite look of the day, but I want to see if you agree with me before I say it. Drop it in the comments. Be specific. Tell me what you loved. Tell me what you would have changed. Tell me if you think one of these looks is going to end up on a best dressed list. Because I have a strong feeling that at least one of them is going to make the cut. Question 2. The baby. Do you actually want her to show his face, or do you think she should keep him private a little bit longer? Because I have seen both sides of this argument all over social media, and honestly both sides have valid points. On one hand, fans have been so patient, and Cardi teasing the reveal feels like she is finally giving them a gift they have been asking for. On the other hand, there is real value in protecting a child's face from the internet for as long as humanly possible, especially in an era when a single viral photo can follow a kid around for the rest of their life. Because think about it. Once that face is out, it is out forever. Every fan account gets the picture. Every meme page gets the picture. Every gossip blog gets the picture. Every stranger with an internet connection now has a visual of your child that you cannot unshare. That is a decision no parent should be pressured into. And I respect that the Bronx star has clearly weighed that math more than most people give her credit for. So I actually want to hear from you. What is the right move here? Where do you draw the line between fan connection and child privacy? I promise I will read every comment on this one, because I think it is one of the most interesting parenting in the spotlight conversations we have had in a long time. Question 3, and this is the one I am most curious about. Do you think she is currently the most strategic celebrity in the game? Not the loudest. Not the most famous. The most strategic. Because I have been quietly building a case that she is running one of the tightest celebrity operations of her generation, and this Paris moment might have just confirmed it. But I want to know if you see what I see. Am I onto something? Am I reaching? Let me know. And listen, if you made it all the way here, first of all, thank you. Seriously. Because you are the reason I do this. Do me one small favor. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, because it genuinely tells the algorithm that these deep dive celebrity fashion analysis videos are worth putting in front of more people. And if you are new around here and you like the way I unpack celebrity culture, from the fashion moves to the personal reveals to the strategy underneath all of it, subscribe. Turn on notifications, because when the baby reveal drops, and it is coming, I am going to be one of the first people on the internet to break it down properly, without the messy takes and the drive-by hot commentary. I am also going to be tracking every follow-up appearance from Paris, every business announcement, every quiet move that fits into this larger arc, because there is a whole story unfolding here, and this Paris moment is just chapter 1. You will want to be here for that. One last thing before I go. Keep your eyes on the Bronx star for the rest of this month. Something tells me the Paris moment was not the peak. Something tells me Cardi B is quietly setting up for an even bigger reveal. Whether that is the baby, whether that is a new project, whether that is a surprise collab we have not seen coming, she has that look right now. That look she gets right before she drops something that shifts the whole culture. I have seen it before. You have seen it before. And when it happens, we are going to be right back here, breaking it down piece by piece. Alright, my friends. That is it for this one. Take care. Be kind out there. Catch you in the next one. Peace.